Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ismail Hossain. My ID is 181352417. So today I'm gonna discuss about a topic of my presentation, which is software acceptance testing. So let's go. Here we discuss about this topic and also see some slides and talk about this. Let's go. This is our topic to introduction software engineering, a presentation on customer acceptance. So let's go. Where we get customer acceptance? This is a question about this topic. So this answer is that customer acceptance come from software test levels. So let's go to find software levels. Here we go. There are four kind of software test levels in a software. So this was unit testing, number two integration testing, number three system testing, and number four acceptance testing. So we are going to talk about this number four, which is acceptance testing. So we are going to talk about this. Our topic is customer acceptance. So let's talk about this. What is acceptance testing? So acceptance testing is it's conducted only when software is developed for a specific customer and not for a large public or audience. Next, purpose of acceptance testing. What is the purpose of acceptance testing? Here we see that purpose of acceptance testing is allows customer to validate all requirement, which mean we allow the customer to validate their all requirements. And then here we see that process of acceptance testing. It's actually about that how this process is going on and how this process completed this all job. So here we see that at first customer test the software, which means that at first the customer see the software and find all his requirement have in it or not, and then customer tests the software in part 1. In the next part we see that modification done. That's mean in the second part of the acceptance testing customer see that modification done or not. And then we are going to third step, which was feedback final software delivery. That's mean after delivery the software, which kind of feedback the software company have. So it's the important thing that feedback final software delivery, which was a process of acceptance testing. So it's the last and the final process of acceptance testing. And then there are two factors in acceptance testing. We know that there are two kinds of factors in acceptance testing, which is alpha testing and beta testing. So in alpha testing and beta testing we are talking about this alpha and beta testing in the next slide. Here we go. Alpha and beta testing conducted when the product is developed for anonymous customer. That's mean alpha testing is conducted when the product is developed for anonymous customer, and second one beta testing carried out by the customer. That's mean beta testing carried out by the customer. uh, Here we see that. Let's see some difference of alpha and beta. Yes, there we have alpha and beta in there, which kind of thing is different from one another. So here we discuss about the difference between alpha and beta testing. In number one, done by the customer at the developer place. That's mean alpha testing done by the customer at the developer place, but in beta testing done by the customers at users and as well customer side. So this is the difference between alpha and beta. In the second example we see that conducted in a controlled environment. That's mean alpha testing conducted in a controlled environment, that's mean a cover area. But in beta testing conducted in real time environment, which mean that real time, I mean in real uh, running time, next under the developer's control. And this beta testing conducted under the developer control. So these are the different between this alpha and beta. And in the third line we see that developer present in this site. That's mean in alpha testing developers are present, but here we see that in beta testing no developer present at this site. That's mean in beta testing there are no developer present at this time. So this is also difference between alpha and beta. And next we see that carried out alpha testing carried out the release of the product to customer, but in beta testing carried out after the release of product to customer. So this is also difference between them. And next we see that errors failures are recorded in alpha testing, but in beta testing failures are reported, not recorded. And the last we see that white and black box testing. In alpha testing there have white and black box testing, but in beta testing there is only black box testing. So this is also difference between them. So let's talk about black box and white box. Here we see, oh, it's looking very good, I think. Black box testing, and there is a picture of the black box testing process. Here you see that the input is coming and executable program, after doing the process then the output come. There we see that white box, a picture of white box, and also the picture is divided into different types of white box. So let's say that at first white box testing there are two part, unit testing and integration testing. And from the two part there are three and three, six part. So in unit testing there are three parts of it: execution testing, operation testings, mutation testings. In integration testing there are also three part of it: top down approach, bottom up approach, hybrid approach. That's all. Unit testing have already three parts, and in execution testing there are also three parts in this condition. This is statement coverage, branch coverage, path coverage. So that's all about white box testing. And let's see some new thing of black box and white box. Okay, let's see some difference between black box and white box. Oh, look at that. There are black box and white box difference between one another, and here we find some reasons of making them different. Look at that. Black box testing techniques are also called functional testing techniques, but in the white box testing techniques are also called structural testing techniques. So that's the difference. Let's see. In black box testing is a software testing method in which the internal structure, design, implementation of the item being tested is not known as the tester. But in white box testing, testing is a software method in which the internal structure, design, or implementation of the item being tested is known to the tester. So that's also the difference. And in the third number we see that it is mainly applicable to higher levels of testing such as acceptance testing and system testing. But in white box here we see that mainly applicable to lower levels of testing such as unit testing and integration testing. In the fourth number uh, we see that in black box testing is generally done by software testers, but in white box testing is generally done by whose? Software developers. That's mean software testers develop black box testing, but software developers testers develop white box testing. So that's also the difference between them. In the five number we see that in black box programming knowledge is not required. That's mean for black box testing you don't need to know any programming knowledge, but in white box programming knowledge is required. That's mean for white box testing you should know about programming language or programming knowledge. So that's the difference. And in the last reason we see that implementation knowledge is not required. That's mean for black box testing you should not know implementation knowledge, but in white box implementation knowledge is required. That's mean if you want to test white box testing, you want to do that, you should know implementation knowledge. So that's all about the difference between white box and black box. We find six kinds of difference between them. We can find more, but here we see six difference, so that's enough I think. And next we see, so that's all about the software testing levels of customer acceptance. I hope I can understand it well, and I don't know if I make it easier or understandable for you or not, but I think it's good. So that's all about software testing levels of customer acceptance. And finally, I want to give a thank you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you.